Captain Sunlight has said that these clients didn't speak any trade language she'd ever learned, and as I caught sight of the two intelligent beings, who looked like the end result of what happens if hummingbirds nudge into anteaters' ecological niche, I didn't find that hard to believe. They were green-feathered, flightless birds, with long beaks, longer tongues, and clawed feet, dexterous enough to type out messages on the big keyboard they had laid out on the ground. It looked like the kind of thing I would have danced on as a kid. I pretended that I wasn't imagining doing that now, as the shorter of the two sent a message onto the display screen that they wanted to haggle. Moore stepped forward, tapping my ankle with a tentacle to say he had it covered. "Oh, you want to pay more? Double price, please." The beaky birds were of course grumpy about this. The short one typed quickly in a fashion that I was amused to realize was hunt and peck. I looked down at Moore, who was cheerfully braiding grass with two tentacles, and waving several others like he was conducting an invisible squid orchestra. He was enjoying himself. The screen beeped that the message was ready. It read, "We know our rocks are valuable to you. 10 barrels of your rocks for each barrel of our rocks." Okay, I hadn't actually known the price that had been set ahead of time for this little exchange. These folks didn't use standard currency, so when they sent out a request via a random traveller for someone to bring them coal, something that was scarce on their planet, in trade for shiny rocks that they had in abundance, Captain Sunlight had gone for it. And if the rough gemstones bedazzling the cart that these birds had come in were any sign, we were about to make a very good deal no matter what the exchange rate was. Moore said, 2 for 1 is already pretty generous. I'll raise it to 3. How about that? The birds conferred with each other briefly, making noises that echoed like someone trilling their tongue down a long tube, which was a pretty accurate description of what was happening, really. The short one typed in a reply. I caught a glimpse of 8 for 1, before the alien technology did what technology everywhere does best. It failed unexpectedly. The screen spasmed wild patterns before going dark, and no amount of punching the keys made it light up again. Moore said to me. "This could put a crimp in things. Maybe we should call Coles or Trilly." "They mostly do written translation," I said, "and Trilly doesn't strike me as the tactful sort." Moore twirled a tentacle to say I'd made a good point, while the birds tried to revive their tech with no luck. "I guess we just throw out numbers until we hit on something they look happy with," he said. "This is going to be rough." "It shouldn't be too bad," I said. "At least they've learned a language, even though they can't speak it. Honestly, I've had worse conversations before my vet training covered Gorilla Sign Language." He looked up at the unfamiliar word. "Nationality?" "Species. Long story. Remind me to tell you about citizen animals on Earth." The birds were starting to disassemble the keyboard casing, using their claws like precision tools, though the tall one gave me the impression that more vigorous smashing was an eagerly anticipated plan B. They looked up when I stepped forward, holding up fingers. 5 for 1. I flicked the fingers one at a time to count. 5 of ours for 1 of yours. They caught on immediately. And luckily for all of us, they had the right number of talon fingers to make this primitive conversation work. Moore was no help, standing 2 steps back and holding up excessive numbers of tentacles, entertaining only himself. The birds and I managed to ignore him. We settled on 7 for 1. I could have pushed for 6, but I felt bad for them, and anyway, I knew that we had the coal already portioned out into 14 crates. The math was easier this way. As we walked back toward the ship to start bringing out the crates that Blip and Blop were unloading at the door, Moore chuckled beside me. That was fun. I want to come up with ways to communicate like that more. Maybe cheating at table games." "I'd offer to teach you some actual sign language," I said. but everything I know is designed with fingers in mind.
That's okay. I don't need proper language to beat the scales off Eggskin. Come on, it'll be great. I'll win several rounds in a row. They'll get annoyed and demand to know how. I'll explain they refuse to give any winnings back. Perfect plan, great times.
I had to smile at that. We'll see, I said. First, let's finish the actual business.
Yep, can't forget that, Mo agreed. Maybe we'll play table tennis with expensive rocks as tokens, like the high society snobs we all are.
Sounds like great times to me, I said.